Hello, hello. Welcome to Unleashed with Kimberly, a conversation for insight and intelligence. I'm your host, Kimberly Anderson, and I am so excited today. I have Jeff Kroom here. He is an inspirational speaker, a preacher, and a life coach. And we're going to watch just this amazing video to give us a little bit more info on him. That was so good. Let's bring him on. Jeff, I love that. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. My favorite person in the whole world, Kimberly. Kimberly.
Oh, you were so amazing.
What an introduction. Wow. That's so cool.
Life empowered. When I think of you, that's exactly what I think. You're empowering people around the globe.
Well, I appreciate that. Watching that video back every time, it just, I'm motivated by watching my own video. I don't know if anybody else is, but it turns me on every time I see it. It's just something that can get inside of us and stir us up from the inside out and bringing to life that stuff that's in us, right? That's what we're all about. So It's so good to be here with you. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
Me too. So why don't you start talking just about what it is you do, because you wear many hats. I mean, inspirational speaker, you're a preacher, and a life coach. So let's go into that.
Yeah, sure. They all dovetail. I think if the truth were known about all of us, Kimberly, I believe that we all have this path and this journey. And I always encourage my clients to never discount what you've done, what you've been through, even the most minuscule tasks that you've done or jobs that you've worked at. They can be so instrumental in shaping us. I've always had this prayer as a boy. I said, God, make me the person that I need to be in order to do what I've been created and called, I believe, to do, right? So be careful when you ask questions like that to the universe, right? Because you go on this amazing, unbelievable, painful, exciting journey that leads you up into this person. And so mine includes way back when my mom, I remember her telling me, Jeffrey Scott. Moms always use that middle name, when they're mad at us, say Jeffrey Scott. She said, if you could ever find somebody to pay you to run that mouth of yours, you would have it made. So I guess I can contribute a lot of this all the way back to mom too. But there was something about communication, Kimberly, all of my life. I mean, I'm on the stage, I'm in the writing class, I'm in the speech class, but it wasn't just about speaking. It was about watching what we could do with communication and how it impacts the life of another human being. And I could say something that would help another person feel better, encourage them, and inspire them. That's kind of where I got turned on. So my journey has included, as you said, motivational speaking. I got my start way back in the day when I met Jim Rohn. Those of you that don't know Jim is now gone from the earth, but he's an amazing human being, an amazing motivational, inspirational speaker. And I got the privilege of working for Jim several years and promoting his seminars all over the country. So that's where I got the bug about being on stage and being a motivational speaker. I've also transitioned through ministry. I spent a lot of time in the pulpit. I was pastoring for 10, 15 years. And on top of that, probably to wrap it all up, is my experience in hospice and palliative care. Kimberly, the last 7, 8 years of my life, I've spent really at the bedsides of people who are leaving the planet. And I don't know about you, kiddo, but when you start talking to people who are at the end of their life, you go back and you look at your own life and you go, okay, I don't know what I thought was terrible about my life, but there's nothing wrong with me. I'm good. I'm breathing. I still got a pulse and I can move forward. But the amazing thing is the conversations that I've had over the years with these people, Kimberly, and I've been sitting there at bedside and they're telling me their secrets. And I've always asked the question, if you could do it over again, what would you do? And of course, as soon as they start to talk, I've got my pen and my paper and I start writing down every nugget that I can. And I feel so honored. I feel so blessed to be able to have the journey that I've had. And all of that kind of compiled into life coaching. I know life coach is a term that we hear these days, but it's been my heart to help people find themselves from the inside out and become the massive them that they were supposed to be. So a nutshell, that's how I got here sitting in front of you. You and I met, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and an amazing conference. And here we are. Look at this. Here we are on the podcast. So
Yeah. Oh, I love all the things that you just said. And I want to touch on a couple of them because I think it's so important. Initially, what you were talking about is how you can't discount anything that you've done in your life because it all has molded and shaped who you are today. And I even do a little thing about that with when I do retreats with my women. They, list down everything you've ever done. List it down and see all your brilliance that you've been working on your whole life. And it really shifts your perspective on, oh my God, I do know how to do this. I can do that. All of those things count. It helps build your knowledge base. So I love that you talked about that.
Yeah. And it's making you, right? It's making you. There's no wasted steps. Every step is making you. And in fact, it took me a while to learn that I don't think we ever arrive. Kimberly, I know that's a little disappointing downer, right? But I don't think we ever do. And I think the one who is the seeker understands they never arrive. They get so hooked on the journey that they're going, okay, what's next? Yep, learn that one. What's next? So it's taking this attitude, this growth mindset that says, I'm going to use today to help me become better at who I am so that I can do more of me, right? That's the object. That's the goal. Do more of you. That's the idea. So
I love it. Yes. Always the seeker. It's always about the journey. It's never about that final moment. And talking about that final moment, I would think that gives you a very unique perspective on life. Like you said, you go inwards and go, wow, okay, jotting everything they're saying down. What an incredible opportunity to really get some end of life insight.
Yeah, I feel so privileged, Kimberly, to have had that experience. And it does really help me with the clients that I work with because I think life is too short to be fake. I really do. I never forget. I was going to visit this woman who was in her final days, and her sons were there, Kimberly, growing sons. They're in their 60s. Now, later did I learn that these two boys, sons, men, had been fighting all of their life for 30 plus years. They hadn't spoken a word to one another in over 30 years. Now, mom is dying, right? And her dying wish is to see her boys make amends, right? I don't know how I got the call, right? But I got the call to go counsel and bring this situation together because mom has got to have some reconciliation before she can pass peacefully. So I get there, and these two guys, grown men now, they're sitting side by side, stroking mom's hand, letting her know, Mom, we made up. It's okay. You can go. And the back of my head, Kimberly is going, liar, liar, pants on fire. These guys were faking it. They were not made up. They didn't make amends. They were trying to fake it. And there's just this thing going off in the back of my head. And somebody who's listening, you know what I'm talking about this thing that goes off in you. It is your meter. The challenge is to trust your meter. It's going to cause you to do some very bold things. It's going to call you way outside your comfort zone. But I guarantee you this, if you listen to that, your brilliance is going to shine and you're going to make a major impact on that moment that you're involved in. So I took these guys outside, Kimberly. I said, look, gentlemen, I don't know you in all due respect, but you're BSing your mother, and she knows it. Now, she might not be able to talk to you, communicate to you, but she understands in the deepest part of her being that you guys are faking this. And until you get this reconciled, she can't pass peacefully. And then I left. That's always a good thing to do, Kimberly, when you say something that bold. You just leave and let it settle right in the air.
Marinate on that.
Yeah, marinate on that. I'm out of here. And by the way, I'm not giving you my phone number or email. You can't track me down, right? So sure enough, I got a call from the sister later that day. And she said, Jeff, I don't know what you said to those guys, but she said they went out for coffee and they made amends after 30 years. And she said they came back, were at mom's bedside, tears pouring down both of their faces. They were hugging mom, and she just passed peacefully about an hour or so after that. So unbelievable And I guess I shared that story because as a coach now, I don't think it's fair to my client or to me to try to fake it. I'm not trying to be your friend. I really don't mean any disrespect, but I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm trying to be eyes that you don't have. I'm trying to be ears that you can't hear with. Just like you, Kimberly, so we can peer inside someone and go, gosh, wait a minute, hang on just a second. I've listened to you say this story 3 times now, and every time there's this point here, and I can tell you're hiding something, you've been hurt, it's unreconciled, or you're afraid. And so I help my clients go right back to that point and help them reconcile that area. And when they do that, they just release this whole inner self, and it helps them excel, get over, overcome, advance their business, whatever their goals are. It helps do that. And I feel pretty cool. I feel pretty privileged to be able to do that. And so it's quite a journey.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you told that story because it helps really identify what you're talking about and, you know, the impact of that fakeness or, you know, being very passive about your true feelings, especially when somebody's about to, you know, leave Earth.
Yeah.
So incredible. I love that.
I don't think we grow up with a safe environment to be ourselves. We always, you know, since birth, we're trying to put on, we're trying to make believe, we're trying to pretend, we're trying to be somebody that we're not because we're not comfortable in our own skin. And we're not really taught to be comfortable in our own skin. Our work environment tries to get us to be the very best. You're putting on your best face. You can't come into work in your jammies, right? You can't come into work with your hair down. But I wonder what life would be like if we could all just let our hair down and get real with one another and just allow our true selves to come shining through. Yeah, we might have to clean up a couple of messes, I think. But gosh, what a better life it would be rather than living fake for 25, 30, 40, 50 years of your life and then leaving the planet. And the challenge is, Kimberly, just the thought dawned on me when I was saying is that the people that I've talked to that were in 80 and 85, 90 years old, they started then to reconcile 80 years of their life, right? They never had these conversations. That's why your broadcast and your podcast is so important to people. I applaud you and listeners and viewers, you're watching. You have to be guests on this podcast. You have to get behind it and support it. You have to get behind and support podcasts, period. Why? Because they're the voice. They're the vessel. And those that are out there that are gifted like you, Kimberly, to do this, you have a way of connecting to people and you watch. Now, you might not be there physically, but you can say something that's going to set them free. They'll turn around and set somebody else free, set somebody else free, set somebody else free. And it's like this grassroots fire that we can do right here through through technology and the medium of podcasting, right? So
yeah, and TV
super
shows,
cool.
Sure, yeah, it is. So give us a couple of little wisdom nuggets that you've wrote down. I'm just ever so curious. What would you say would be maybe the top 3? Because I would imagine there's kind of probably an overlapping theme that would pop up would be my guess.
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting. I have met a handful of people in my journey that when I ask them, would you go back and do it again? Well, I should say not a handful. A lot of them go, I don't want anything to do with it again. I don't want to go do it again. I wish I wouldn't have tried so hard. I wish I wouldn't have tried so hard. I wish I would have allowed life to happen. So many of them, Kimberly, they're so busy, worker bees all the way to the end. They work to retire. They retired to try to have life and fun before they die. And then when they die, they go, did I really live the life that I was supposed to live? The second one is many of them never knew they had a purpose. That was the one that broke my heart the most. I've asked thousands, countless, why were you born? And most of them can't tell you why. They have no significant understanding of their own value and worth. Well, yeah, they're an engineer and they got their degree and they're making $1 million. And so what? What if you're multiple degrees, you make multiple millions of dollars, but at the end, you never know who you were. You didn't have a significant piece of the puzzle, participation in the thing called life. The ones who really left the planet peacefully, Kimberly, are the ones that felt like they were fulfilled.
Mm.
They knew they had nothing else to do. How do you know when it's your time to go? You know you have nothing left to do. Now,
Wow.
I don't want to step on any toes because I understand that physicality can take over sometimes. Physicality can say, this disease can say, you know what? I'm taking your life. Now, that's a different topic, and I should not even have gone there because I've watched, Kimberly, I've watched people with dilapidating diseases. The doctor says they're going to die within a couple of weeks. And I've watched them hold on for months and years. This dear lady wanted to hold her great-great-granddaughter. And she said, I'm not leaving the planet until I hold that baby. And I'm telling you what, as sure as I'm sitting here breathing with skin on me, that woman did not leave the planet until she held that great-grandbaby, kissed her. She closed her eyes and she was gone.
Wow. Whew, chills.
Yeah. Why? Because she got what she wanted. And I wonder if you viewer, you listener, are on a path to get what you want, or are you on a path to do what you think you should do or have to do? Maybe it can be our conversation today, Kimberly, can be an eye-opener for someone to go, wait a minute, time out. Let me regroup. Let me reassess my life. And fortunately, we got to do a lot of that work with people who were even at the end of their life. They got to reassess their life, reevaluate, reconcile some things, and the months and time they had in front of them was the best time that they'd ever had. So, so much to learn when you're talking to people who are leaving the planet. So
That is so true. Wow.
yeah. Good stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
So good. Having, touching back on what you were saying with them not knowing their purpose, there's such a huge gap. There's that no passion. There's that lack. You're never fulfilled. And I love that you were pointing that out, because if we can help somebody go, okay, what do I really want? What really is me? And how do I find my purpose? It's there. It's in you.
Yeah.
It's just about trial and error, failing forward, that good old fashioned saying, just keep going. And to find that passion is really what's bringing you joy. It's never outside, it's inside, but it's about really harnessing that and moving forward.
Yeah, and many of us, we don't learn that, Kimberly, and with all due respect to coaches and teachers and everything else, and I love everybody, but we don't go to school to learn us. So school is just said, you got to learn this, you got to learn 2 + 2, 3 + 3. My wife is in education, and one of the things that she's doing right now is helping reform educational structure based upon social and emotional learning. We don't even look at how our kids learn. We don't even look at what makes them tick. We just demand that they should live according to this standard.
Yeah.
There's a phrase that's been going off in my heart for years, and it's this: we hold these truths to be self-evident. You take that statement right there. We hold these truths to be self-evident. You want to know what my life, you want to know what I believe? Do I want to know what you truly believe? I look at what's self-evident around you, who you hang with, what you listen to, what you eat, what you drive, where you live. We say all that, Kimberly, right? But I've watched it over the years in these people's lives that were leaving the planet. They lived the life that they believed they were supposed to live, or needed to live, or had to live, instead of wanted to live. I had so many people tell me, Jeff, I didn't know I had a say so.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know I had. And now, and here's why we don't know we had a say so, Kimberly, because we're trapped, we're suffocating, we're dying, and we don't know it. We don't get around to being buried until we're 85, but we died when we were 30.
Let that sink in.
Gosh. Yeah. So
yeah,
our goal my goal, my passion, my mission, helping that's a good word, a resurrection. This is a real strong word, especially the month of April, right? So
Right.
this whole resurrection stuff, somebody slapped me. That was my experience when I kind of backstory a little bit. I moved from Indiana to California in 1988, 5 suitcases and a one-way plane ticket. And I settled in California, starting my life over, completely over. And along that way, life was good, life was bad, you call it whatever you want. But I still found myself in the pit of pits. Sometimes the pit follows you. You get out of one pit and you find yourself in another one. And you get out of that pit and you find yourself in another one. Why in the bleep does the pit follow you? Because the pit's trying to tell you something. That place of misery, Kimberly, that's in the bottom of the pit, it is supposed to make you so miserable that situation launches you into your dream. If you allow the pit, it'll swallow you and suffocate you. And you'll be one of those that don't get around to being buried till they're 80, but they die at 30. But if you allow the pit to do what it's supposed to do, which is to make you so uncomfortable that you scream to get out, you almost launch yourself out of that place of misery. It squeezes you until you go, enough is enough. I'm not doing this one more time.
I love it. Yeah.
Gosh, right?
So good. And you're right. It's true. That pit is what's trying to help you, I'll say, course correct. It's helping you go, hey, pay attention. This is not good. And if it's following you, there's a big clue.
Yes. Well, and here's a twist that I picked up over the last few years, because a lot of our spiritual friends, and spiritual, I use that term broadly because we all come from different backgrounds spiritually, but a lot of our spiritual friends buy into the suffering complex. It was really big on my note when I knew you and I were going to have this conversation to touch on this.
Awesome.
We buy into a suffering complex because we're taught that suffering brings reward. So although, yes, I want that pit of misery to come around in my life, I want it to do its job, but I don't want to get addicted to the pit. Because when I get addicted to the pit, I develop a misery complex. And when I develop a misery complex, I find other miserable people to hang around with. And when I'm around misery, misery loves company, so it validates my misery. And we all share this suffering story. Well, I'm suffering for, you fill in the blank. But friend, what if you were never, ever, 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 ever supposed to suffer? What if one time through was enough? Somebody's listening going, well, why in the heck have I been here 100 times? Good question.
I love it.
So don't buy the suffering complex.
And I notice too in conversations that when you're in that suffering complex, it's about who's suffering more, who's suffering in a bigger way. It's never like I'm trying to get out of it. It's constantly reeling you in, and you have to really be aware of that.
Yeah.
And it can be an old time friend. It could be a family member. It doesn't matter who it is. Like you said, misery loves company, and it is constantly seeking out that company.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things you were saying that you do with your clients about having them write down where they're at, write down everything, what you feel, what you see, what you think, what your experience is. And you and I've had these conversations throughout the years. That's why I'm so excited to be with you today. We've had, you remember the luncheons that we had, when back in the day of the seminar that we met, I think we sit there for hours and talk. It was so brilliant, right?
I love it. We should have recorded those.
We should have recorded those, but this one's being recorded. So this is cool. Maybe this is the launch of something brand new. So, but when you record, and it's so good that you teach your clients to record, because what I found is when we record, it's not for the sake of journaling, and I love journaling, but the journal is there to show us patterns.
Mm-hmm.
The patterns, when we identify the patterns that we're having in our life, Kimberly, that's what we can start to set ourselves free from. So misery says, I'm miserable, and I'm miserable because of these conditions. Now, somebody's listening today, they're watching, and you know what I'm talking about. Your life is miserable. But all of a sudden, you're driving down the road, you're sitting in a coffee shop, you're at work, and you hear a song or somebody says something, and instantly you're happy. You have a memory of when it was good. And all of a sudden, you're washed over with these feelings, exhilarating, happy. I got a question for you. What happened to the misery? Where did it go? Here's the answer. The misery and the moment of blessing, if you would, live and occupy the same space. They're always constantly sharing the space. Talking to my vibrational friends now, right? It's vibration, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is that thought that triggered the happiness, I switched my engagement from this right into happy. And you know what I'm talking about. We can be happy and sad, and happy and sad, and happy. And we go through this cycle, right? So when we identify our patterns, Kimberly, this is how we change our life. This is truly how we change. We identify the patterns so that when that pattern starts to repeat itself, I can see it come. I can see it coming from a distance. And I go, here it comes. And then I can step out in front of it and say, wait a minute, stop the truck. I know you. I recognize you. Every time my wife does that, it causes me to feel this way. Guess what? That's a pattern. Mm-hmm. Every time that my boss does this, it makes me feel that's a pattern. It's not that the boss is a jerk. You're learning how not to allow a jerk to affect you by being in the presence of a jerk over and over and over and over and over. So our freedom comes when we can get out in front of it and go, I recognize you. And guess what? You do not have permission any longer to take over me. Sadness, depression, fear, anger, hatred, bitterness, all of those negative emotions, they drive our lives, Kimberly. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. They drive us. But why do they drive us? Because we open the car door, let them in the front seat. In fact, we take a passenger side seat and let them behind the wheel. Yeah, right. We let them drive the car. So we're sitting over there. Sure, he hurt you. I get it. But you're more than your story, baby doll.
Yeah.
You can't be a victim forever. I feel like I'm preaching, Kimberly. There's no reward for the victim at the end. You don't get a special line. Come on, somebody, you don't get a special line. That's a hard reality. You know what? When you get to the end, you're going to look and go, I did this to myself.
Yeah.
And I thought somewhere along the line, someone was going to rescue me. We need to talk a little bit about people who rescue us.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not a rescuer. You may think they were, but nobody rescues you but you.
Exactly. And I'm going to add too, because what you're saying is so powerful. And I hope people were taking notes on that, recognizing the patterns. But here's the thing. If you keep noticing that your boss is making you angry or whatever it is, find out why. Why is it constantly bothering you? What is it triggering inside of you that causes you to feel that way? Because there's something there. And so you can recognize the pattern and you can figure out what's going on because it's in you. It's not them. Yeah.
Yeah. Our Eastern philosophies teach us really, really powerful about and I'm probably going to butcher the word, but I think it's called samskaras. Samskaras are these, my definition, are these little pockets of thought and emotion that stores in the synapses on our inside. Mm-hmm. And what triggers it is sometimes you can get around a smell and something goes off in you. right? Because the stored memory, for lack of better words, is pocketed in us all over inside of us. So if you could open yourself up, you see these little pockets. And this is when I was 10 and granddaddy made me mad. This is when I was 20 and she left me. This is when I got straight A's and mommy was so proud of me. All of these things, they store inside of us. So we're really not free thinking creatures. We're regurgitated creatures based upon what's in us. Right, Kimberly? What's in us? So all I have to do is get around Kimberly. You sent me an email and my goosebumps went off. Why? Because you hold this little goosebump pocket inside of me because I remember the conversations that we've had that are so brilliant. Yeah. Well, the point is that I used to fight those things that were negative in me. And I had this epiphany. I was in my field in the early morning hours and I was fighting against this thing that was trying to come against me. And it dawned on me, Jeff, that thing is not real. That thing that's coming against you doesn't have any intelligence. It's not on a specific journey, destination, agenda. All it is something that you allow to regurgitate inside of you. It still thinks you're that person that experienced it. And it's just coming around to see if you're still there. Yeah. It's like phishing, 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 right? The scams, they drop little things in your email to see if you're going to click on it. That's what those are. They come up to see if you're going to click it. Are you going to bite it? And if you bite it, guess what? You're back to when you were 10 and grandfather abused you, molested you, beat you. You're back when you failed the business. You're back there immediately. You're reliving it. Why? Because you swallowed the pill again, hook, line, and sinker, right? So what happened is it dawned on me. I've been fighting this. And when you fight it, you might masterfully take it and tuck it back down inside of you, but you're never free from it. Why? Because you wait for an environment to resonate with it, trigger it, and guess what? Whoosh, it flares right back up. So color me weird, Kimberly. I'm in the middle of my field, early morning hour, and I'm taking this thing out of me and looking at it, and I tell it, thank you for serving me so well all of these years. But I have no need for you anymore. And I'm going to release you because you're energy. I'm going to release you. And as I release you, you get to go right back into my system, which you're going to energize me now in a positive manner. And you're going to help catapult me forward because you can't take your energy out of you. If you just take all of those pockets of energy out of you, you're probably not going to have anything left, sweetheart, right? You're going to like, oh my God. So what we do is we take the energy, we reconcile it, and we forgive it, whatever we have to do, and we release its negative. We accept it and go, and we grow. We have a little poof, and we expand. And now we use all that was for against us. Here's my spiritual brothers and sisters. What's meant for our evil will be turned for our good. What was meant to be against us is now for us and can catapult us into being those people that we know we're created to be.
Oh, I have chills up and down my entire body. Absolutely, absolutely. I love it.
Now I need to dote on you. Do you realize that without you, Kimberly, being you, I can't be me?
And vice versa.
Yeah. That's why this is so cool. Because you being you helps me be me, and me being me helps somebody be them, and you be you, and we all get to be each other because we all get to be each other. That's super cool.
It's like that synergetic energy that's just darting each other.
Yes.
Hitting. I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
And going back to what you were saying with those pockets within us, the negative pockets, even the positive ones, we attach thoughts and beliefs and emotions to them. So really understanding that that's you identifying what that is helps you be able to release that negative part of it so you can put back on that positive energy and catapult you forward, like you were saying.
Yeah. And I think we get. I love you because when we first met, probably if I would have met you 10 years ago, you and I would have passed two ships in the night. I was not ready to have a conversation with you. I remember our conversation over lunch. You were really bold with me. You were telling me some things that opened. I thought, how dare she? But you know what? It was like a good kick in the rear. I needed it. You helped me open my eyes. And I think we get hung up on terminology so much. And then we get defensive of our own belief systems and our own faith values and all this stuff. And you were one that really helped me open up my mind to realize when you say this and you say tomato and I say tomato, we're talking about the same thing. I'm gonna stand on my fence and justify why it's tomato, and you're not gonna, because otherwise we pit each other against each other, right?
Right.
So understanding some of our viewers, Kimberly, that are listening and watching, and even whenever they're watching this years from now, you can't get so hung up with what you think is right. If it's right, it's okay, but don't get so hung up on it, because otherwise it's harder to change. It's harder to let it go, right? And you've experienced that too. We get so stuck on something, we can't get unstuck. We can't unstuck ourselves. So
it's crippling.
Yeah, indeed it is. Indeed it is. Oh,
Woo!
gosh, gotta take it all in.
It is, I just truly, our conversations are so magic. And you're right. It's like when we come together, we keep bringing out this brilliance within each other. And that's why I was so excited to have you come on the show, because when you talk, there's so much passion and there's so much truth behind everything that you say, that I want the world to hear it. I want people to really know that they can live an empowered life, and which is what your business is called. I mean, you can truly live a life empowered, and it's you taking those steps, you releasing that energy, you knowing that you have a purpose.
Yeah. If you don't have your own plan, we've heard this time and time again, you'll become a part of somebody else's plan. And but everything, Kimberly, I think I see a lot of times. I see some of my clients, some of the people that I work with, they get into too much of a box, and then what they do is they try to take their gift, which is truly a natural gift. You can't work your gift. Your gift works. I'm going to say it again.
There. That was amazing. You can't work your gift. Your gift just works. Wow. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
that out. That was amazing.
Yeah, but you felt that, right? That's what it was. That's why it's on me, because I used to think. I'm going to use a dark side and a light side analogy. I used to think my dark side, and we all have them. Come on, somebody. I used to think my dark side disqualified me from my light side.
Wow.
Because every time I found myself in my light side, the dark side would say, hey, don't you remember who do you think you are? How can you call yourself A when you're all this over here? But it's the one who says that they are a paramedic and they're in the ambulance. They got the call. They're screaming down the freeway. Get to the accident. They're hovering over the person, and that person is hovering in life and death. And they look them in the eye and say, hang on, don't die. I got to remember what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to work the gift.
Yeah.
You can't work the gift. The gift works. Yeah. When the towers came down in New York, every human being that was close enough to somebody that could reach out and help them, they didn't have to turn to the instructional manual and go, well, how do I do this? Is this accurate? Is this politically correct? Can I get a virus from touching you? Should I hug you? Should I not? They didn't care about that, because what was in them took over. That's where we got to get. That's what you're all about, Kimberly. Unleashed is letting that gift in you just simply work. Now, this is out for debate. I don't think the gift has to mature. I think we, the carrier of the gift, have to mature.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. So that's why somebody, it feels like it's taking you forever to get to be you. But don't fret, baby. It's only preparation. And the more you can stay in that incubated stage, the more you can stay unseen. Oh my God, the longer you will be seen. And see, I don't speak to everybody this way, Kimberly. You've done something in me. You touched something in me. I just don't have these types of conversations. I do with my clients one-on-one, but not on a podcast like this. So I don't know what's overcome me, but the time spent out of the light will determine how long you stay in the light. The one whose goal is only to be seen will be seen, but only for a moment. But the one whose desire is to not be seen, but be impactful and effective, the light will continue to pull you into itself. You'll almost come kicking and screaming, but it continues to pull at you saying, it's your time now. It's your time now. You've been in the dark long enough. We got to get you to the forefront. Here's the podcast. Here's the people. Here's the money. Here's the opportunity. It all comes together. And when we have to mature as human beings to handle what it is that flows through us, I believe, Kimberly. And that's what our job as coaches are, right? That's our role in humanity as coaches and how do you know how can you kick me in the butt, Kimberly? You can kick me in the butt because you've kicked yourself in the butt. Come on, I know enough about you. You're not easy. You're the hardest one on yourself, right?
Oh, definitely. As a matter of fact, you totally just described me. Like, I want to stay hidden, but I want to have massive impact. I don't want to be in the public eye, but this TV show landed in my lap and I was like, oh my God, I have to do this, even though I don't want to do this. I never wanted my own TV show and I don't want to be in the public eye. Yeah. So, but it's not about me. It's about the impact I want to have in helping other people.
Now take that sentence apart. Take what you just said apart, which is so brilliant. Because right in what you just said also lives the suffering mentality. Mm-hmm. No, it's okay. You just go ahead. I don't want to be seen. I don't want you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That is linked to the suffering. Really, truly, the person who doesn't really believe that is on the inside going, I'm saying this so that you can see me. I'm saying this so that you can understand me. I'm saying this so you will hear me. That's where the realization comes in at, because when you know you're the savior, when you know you can help save somebody's life, you're begging for those opportunities going, I'm the one that you need to be right there because I can help. Kimberly, that is what's coming on people. That power, that authority, that confidence, and it's breaking past all the self-promotion and buy my and live in my mansion and blue. There's something happening inside of us that gift is being exploded from within outwardly, and it's going, and we're not saying, see us, look at us. The universe is going, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need you. I still hold that. I hold it true that the universe is on my side. I hold it true that God knows me by name. He carries the very breath. She holds the very breath that I breathe. I believe that with everything I have. And all it takes is, and my life has changed completely, right?
Yeah.
All it takes is and you're from here to here.
Yeah.
It can change. It can change that fast. I got to go back and listen to this. I have no clue what I just said, but I'm going to go back and listen. Go back and listen to it. I'm taking notes.
I love it. It's so true, though. And I absolutely am right there with you. I totally believe that 1000%. The universe is going, I need you here. I need you there. This is what you need to do. And that's how I have my unleashed world. And Come into my unleashed world. It's about stepping into your brilliance.
Ah,
Absolutely.
indeed, it is. I love it. What else can I help with? What else can I say? I don't know. What else do
I
I
don't know.
talk
I
about?
was like, let's just get on here and see what happens, because that's what we do best.
Yeah, I love it. So how often is your show? I'm gonna flip the role now. I get to ask you questions. How often is your show? How are you
It's
on every week? Are you on a month or?
It's once a week. It's live once a week, Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
Super cool.
Pacific time. Yeah. So
I love it.
it's been an incredible journey. I love being able to have these dynamic conversations with people, especially where we can help just share our message and get it out there. And
And so you're on your show is published on what, Roku, all the different media. Media has changed, hasn't it?
Oh my goodness.
Gosh.
It's interesting. I was thinking about it yesterday, how the pandemic and having people inside and the conversation's always around this, so I try not to touch on it. But what I did find that I was recognizing yesterday is how it changed industries. It allowed people to take a moment and go, what is important to me? And even, I was kind of laughing. I was watching it was a workout commercial. And the entire face of working out, going to the gym, all that stuff is completely changed. You can literally have this be on a treadmill or whatever, and there's somebody in there pushing you to go, and it's live. And I'm like, holy cow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah.
Whew.
And I love it. I mean, it definitely has reshaped us. It's definitely, that's a mouthful. It's definitely reshaped us. I probably shouldn't do that. Throw up all over everybody. It's definitely reshaped us. I wonder, I was reading somewhere, Kimberly, about artificial intelligence, AI, and the article was talking about all the pros of AI. AI is going to be able to drive our cars, wash our dishes, take our dog for a walk, you name it, it's going to be able to do it. But one of the writer or the author, and I don't remember who the author was, I apologize, but the point that the author made was there's one thing that AI will never, ever, ever be able to duplicate in humanity. And it got my attention. And the author said it's not the predictability, because AI bases its existence on predictability. If X, then Y. If A, then B. The only thing about a human is we are the most unpredictable species on the face of the planet, right? When we should go straight, what do? We turn left. When we're supposed to turn right, what do? We stop. Everything about us is unpredictable. That's why I believe that technology in all of its advancement can never replace the human touch.
Absolutely.
I need to see you. I love seeing your face here on this camera, but you know what I love more is seeing your face in person.
Yes.
My mama, squeeze those cheeks.
Yeah.
So I think the pandemic, Kimberly, there's some people that are watching us. We're talking about being kind of held in the darkness until light forces you out. I believe there's some people who are watching today, listening today, that you had a business before. It had something to do with people. It had something to do with crowds, the masses, touching people. You were physically connected. And the pandemic is throwing you for a complete loop. It's just devastated you. But I'm here today to encourage you that you need to hold on, because what you thought was yours was not yours. It was practice. But the world is now being prepared for you so that when you launch again, and this, Kimberly, I truly believe this. This is not a time to look for another thing.
Right.
This is not time to look for another thing. This is time for you to look back at the same thing you've been looking at all your entire life, realizing that the pandemic cannot take it away from you. Exactly. The world cannot take it away from you. There's nothing going to keep you from your destiny but you. So you tuned in just at the right time, because you have to hear that you need to pick it back up and you need to do it again. You know why? You thought humanity was prepared for you before. You wait till you get them in front of you now. Every coach, every motivational speaker, every teacher, every person that has a calling on their life to help another human being, baby, the world is ripe for you. Billions of dollars waiting to come into the hands of people who are helping people. Why? Because humanity is starving. I don't care what they tell us, wear a mask, keep your distance. I'm telling you to keep your distance from me, but secretly inside I'm going, I wish to God somebody would hug me. I wish to God somebody would recognize me as I walk by. You don't even know who I am.
I know.
You can't even see me laugh or smile at you. Now, I hope you don't get any hate mail. Please don't send hate mail at Kimberly. It wasn't her. It was me. I'm the guy she asked on the show. But
it's so true. I smile at everybody going through a grocery store. And if I'm in a mask, you can't see I'm smiling.
Yeah.
And you can only smile so big with your eyeballs,
Yeah.
So no, I agree.
If you wanna get into the mask a little bit, how many of us are hiding, Kimberly?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
the mask allows me to just put it. Isn't it the face?
It's the perfect
theater.
metaphor.
They've got the face.
It's It allows you to hide even deeper.
Yeah. It does. So I think really today, for me, it's your listeners being able to really stop and evaluate their life. Where am I at? Am I where I'm supposed to be? I love talking to people who kind of know, but they don't know. They're there, but they're lost. They know exactly right, but they don't know what to do. It's those types of people, because really to come around them and support them and to help them understand you're right on time. You're in the perfect place. Just keep falling forward. Keep launching forward. Keep believing it's going to be okay. On the down days, hang on, baby. It's going to get better. It's okay. The down days don't define you. Can I take us someplace? It just dropped in my heart. We have a tendency to believe that when I feel good, things are good. When I feel bad, things are bad. But here's what I've learned, Kimberly. I've gleaned that both good and bad are a lie.
I love this. Let's dive.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
And chime in. Why? Because every time I am not this, that must mean I'm this. And every time I'm this, it must mean I'm not that. So I am in constant war trying to be that and avoid being that, when truly I am neither. I am that I am.
Whew. Everybody feel that? Holy cow.
I'm experiencing I'm experiencing this, but this is not who I am.
Right.
I'm going through this, but this, don't you call me that. These truths I hold to be self-evident. Don't you call me that. Yeah, agree with me that I'm experiencing, but when you call me it, you label me it. And when you label me it, you empower it, and you empower it to become me. And I refuse. Kimberly, I refuse to be that. I refuse to be that. That's why I'm neither this or this. If I could be a little preacher for just a second, there's an amazing scripture in the Christian Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without. That's your entire message of life. Was without. How can you be without? What do you, I don't understand, Jeff. How can you be? Be means you are. You're in the essence. It's everything. It's the totality. It is. It is without. The next word tells us the whole story. What was it without? It was, but it was without form. Form. Male, female, rich, poor,
Labeled.
black, white, speaker, this, form. It was without any of all that. We take upon the form to fulfill the mission. The mission is fulfilled through the form. But you are not the form. You are the essence, the life, the flowing, the Zoe, the gosh, I'm trying to find the word. You're the essence of it. You're not it. So my brothers and sisters, stop wrestling with trying to be this because you're exacerbating the injury. You're neither. So we go with the flow. That when we start talking about going with the flow, that means I am not sad, I'm experiencing sadness. I'm not depressed, I'm experiencing depression. I'm not happy, I'm experiencing happiness. I am that I am. I am that I am.
You're whole and complete. You're just experiencing whether it's joy and happiness or you're experiencing not joy and happiness, but you are always you.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. Yeah, you're always you. And you can't be anything else but you, Kimberly, unless you're trying to be what somebody else told you are.
Right. Which is labeling. Back to the labeling.
Yeah, which is labeling. And we do it. Society does it. Everybody does it. That's why we struggle with the self-image stuff is worse in the US and people right now, billions of people all over the world suffering from self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to be like somebody else instead of knowing. I just wrote a blog the other day and posted it about loving ourselves. And if we don't know the value of ourselves, we live a life based upon the value of someone else puts on us. What is this thing that we need to have somebody else validate us?
Yeah. Powerful, powerful, powerful. I love our conversation. Always so good.
Yeah. I don't even know what time it is. I mean, I kind of got lost in what we're doing. Is it Tuesday? Is it Wednesday? I don't know what day it is. So
I love it. So I want to make sure people know how to find you because they need to know your brilliance. So Jeff Kroom, your life empowered, jeffkroom.com.
Yeah, Kimberly, I was thinking about our show, and I do life coaching, I do all kinds of things. But one of the things I'm really concerned about is somebody that's listening here today. And they really need help. You're at a crossroads. You're bound up. You're stuck. You don't know how to get through. Whatever it may be, I want to help. If you go to my website jeffkroom.com, you can book a coaching session with me, and I have a free for all the listeners, just free. It's 30 minutes. It's free. You just get me, just like Kimberly and I. You get me 30 minutes. If you book it 30 minutes, it's called Breakthrough. Use the promo code Breakthrough at checkout, and it's totally free to you, but it'll send your information to me, and we can connect, and we can have a conversation like this, and help you through whatever you're going through. It's a little sticky place for you. It's not nothing permanent. Don't worry. We can help you get through that. And I would also encourage you to call this woman right here because she's brilliant at what she does too. And if you need a good swift kick in the rear, she'll give it to you. I promise you, she'll give it to you. So that's how they can find me, jeffkroom.com, and use the promo code Breakthrough if you'd like to book a coaching call with me. And again, it's totally free. 30 minutes, you and I digging into life, figuring out how we can get you to be the you that you're supposed to be. So
absolutely. I love it. And if anybody's interested, I have my free 21-day Unleash Your Inner Goddess virtual summit. It's 21 days of brilliant women sharing their real, raw, unedited stories of what they've gone through, how they overcame it, and they're offering free gifts as well. Every day, 21 days emailed to you. You don't even have to leave your home. So go to that. That is bit.ly Goddess Summit 2021.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
Yeah. And if you're not sure, you can always go to Aphrodite Enterprises on Facebook, as well as my website, KimberlyACoaching.com, to find out more. Jeff, you are always brilliant. I love our conversations. You are so amazing. Thank you from the depths of my heart and soul for being on my show with me today. You're amazing.
I am so honored, and kudos right back to you. I love it. Look forward to next time, kiddo. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.